Emma Collins had only been working at Franklin & Meyer Marketing for 4 months when the email arrived. It was a short message from her boss, Daniel Grant, the company's senior marketing director, asking her to join him on a 3-day work trip to Seattle for a client presentation. Emma froze for a moment, reading the email twice. She wasn't nervous about travel. It was the idea of spending 3 whole days representing the company with Daniel, a man she admired deeply for his professionalism, calm confidence, and fairness. She had seen him in meetings, always patient, always composed, and always listening to even the quietest intern. For Emma, this was a chance to prove herself. After all, she'd only recently switched careers, from teaching high school English to joining corporate marketing, a leap she made after years of self-doubt. She wanted to do something creative, to grow, to test herself beyond the classroom walls. And Daniel was the kind of boss who inspired her to believe she could. On Monday morning, Emma packed her things carefully: laptop, notebook, blazer, a few work outfits, and her presentation notes that she had been reviewing every night. She arrived at the airport early, nervously clutching a coffee and checking her phone for messages. "Morning, Emma," Daniel greeted as he arrived. He was dressed in his usual understated way, gray jacket, white shirt, and that calm, reassuring smile. "Morning. I hope I'm not too early," she said, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "Early is good," he replied with a light chuckle. "Shows dedication." On the flight, they talked mostly about the upcoming presentation, the client's expectations, and how the Seattle branch had been struggling with customer engagement. Daniel asked her opinion on a few strategies, genuinely listening, which surprised her. She had expected to just follow his lead, not contribute to planning. "I think," Emma said carefully, "we could use more storytelling in the campaign. The client's brand has a good heart, they just don't show it. If we build emotional connections instead of just product stats, it might work better." Daniel smiled. "I like that. Let's explore it more when we land." When they reached Seattle, the air was cool and crisp. The hotel they checked into was modest but comfortable, and Daniel reminded her they'd have dinner with the client that evening. "Relax during the afternoon," he said. "You've earned it." That night, the dinner went smoothly. Emma found herself more confident than she expected. Daniel subtly guided her through the client discussion, occasionally nodding at her points or letting her explain campaign elements directly. It was the first time she felt like a true professional, part of the team, not a trainee. Afterward, as they walked back through the softly lit downtown streets, Daniel said, "You did really well tonight, Emma. You've got a good instinct for understanding people." "Thank you," she said softly. "I was nervous." "That's normal. But remember, nervousness means you care. It's what keeps you improving." The next day was presentation day. Emma rehearsed in her room early in the morning, pacing while reading her slides aloud. At breakfast, Daniel noticed her anxious energy and smiled. "You're ready. Just trust your prep," he said, sipping his coffee. "And if you stumble, it's fine. Realness connects better than perfection." At the client's headquarters, the presentation began. Emma took the second half, the emotional branding section, and as she spoke, she saw nods around the room. Daniel watched proudly from the side, letting her handle questions. When the session ended, the client's director shook her hand. "That was impressive, Emma," he said. "You made us think differently." By the time they left, Emma was glowing with pride. Outside, the Seattle rain had started to fall softly, and Daniel offered her his umbrella as they walked toward their ride. "You just made our client relationship a lot stronger," he said. "You should be proud." "I am," she said, grinning. "Thank you for trusting me with that." Later that evening, while reviewing their notes for the report, Daniel opened up a bit about his own beginnings, how he'd once almost quit marketing because he felt invisible early in his career. "What changed?" Emma asked. "A senior manager once took me to a client meeting I wasn't supposed to be in," Daniel said. "He told me afterward that leadership isn't about titles, it's about showing people their potential before they see it themselves." Emma smiled quietly. That line stayed with her for the rest of the night. On the final morning, before they left for the airport, Daniel received a call from headquarters. The CEO wanted to congratulate the team for the success of the presentation. He turned to Emma and said, "They were impressed. They mentioned your name specifically." Emma blinked. "Seriously?" "Seriously," he said, laughing. "Looks like your ideas are going to shape the next campaign." Back on the flight home, as clouds drifted past the window, Emma looked out and thought about how far she'd come, from being unsure in her first week to now feeling capable, respected, and ready for more. "Thank you, Daniel," she said softly during the flight. For believing in me, he smiled, setting his laptop aside. You earned that belief, Emma. Don't forget that. When they landed, they said goodbye in the arrivals hall. It wasn't dramatic, just a handshake, a warm smile, and mutual respect. But for Emma, it marked something important, not just the end of a work trip, but the start of a new confidence in herself. Weeks later, when the campaign officially launched and was praised across the company, Daniel sent her a short message, "Well done, partner." And for the first time in a long time, Emma felt like her life, and her career, had truly changed. Because sometimes, it's not grand moments that transform us, but the quiet encouragement of someone who believes in what we can become.